Edwards Virginia Smokehouse presents the Cured Meat Podcast. Today's question is, how do you know when an aged ham is ready?
In every step of the process, there is actually factors that you look at to determine if a ham is ready. Not just when it's finished, but we're going to talk about just the finished process today, which, depending on the flavor profile you're looking for, when the ham is, say, 90 days old, which in my opinion is the earliest that you would even consider taking a ham out of aging, it's going to be a very, very mild ham. And you look at the surface condition and you can take it and actually squeeze the ham, and it's going to have some pliability to it. And you take an ice pick and you stick it into the hock end of the ham and you smell it. And you take it and stick it close to the H bone and you smell it. And if it has a no off smells to it, it's not going to have much of an aroma to it to begin with at that age. But if there's no off smell to it, then it's okay. Then the next age bracket, maybe up to 120 days, same thing. It's going to be a little bit harder, but you should have a little more aroma to it. If you're looking for that really nice aged flavor to it, when you stick the ham with the ice pick, you will start to pick up a really fermented aroma to it. To me, that doesn't really start to develop till it's 9 months, 10 months, even 12 months old. And the hams that I really like, once they start to hit 12, even 14 months old, have that aged, fermented aroma. And even in the wigwam ham flavor profile, it has an appley sweet smell to it. I mean, a faint smell of this apple sweet smell to it, which then I know that ham is perfect. Now you start getting to the into the Suriano category, 18 months old. There is also that sweet smell to it, but it also has even more of an intense fermented flavor or smell to it that develops. The ham is going to be even more firm. So when you stick the pick into the hock end, and you have to be careful where you stick it. You want to be able to stick the pick as far into the ham as you can, so you can pull it out and get a good nice aroma off of it. And trust me, a stainless steel ice pick is really hard to get any kind of aroma on because of the slickness of a steel. In the good old days, you could use the shin bone of a horse, but the USDA kind of frowns upon that. They can still use that in Europe. But that is the much more effective way of picking up the aroma. But going back to the aroma of the Suriano ham, well, any ham that's aged 18 months, you can really pick up stronger fermented smell, and the outside of the ham is going to be much harder. But that's good because you're going to eat that ham as an uncooked product. And when you're going to think this could be really hard to carve, but you're going to carve that ham, put it on a ham stand and carve it. And once you get past the outer skin, it's going to be like carving through butter. I mean, it's going to be nice and smooth and easy to cut. So key to it is when you stick that ice pick into the hock, when you're cutting, when you're sticking into the hock, you start so the hock is facing away from you, and you cut it on. Take a knife. I don't have a pick with me right here, but take that hock. Say my hand is the hock, and you cut it, go that way into the hock, and pull it out and smell it. And then if you're going to the H bone, you take the ham this way and stick it that way toward the H bone, so you can then smell it. And if you take a knife, if that's all you have, you don't have an ice pick, the thinner the knife, the better, because you're actually cutting through that nice meat. But you get a better surface to smell off, to pick up the aroma. So that's not a bad thing either. I would prefer to get a knife a little bit thinner than that, actually. But anyway, that's what I know about testing a ham.
And as long as OSHA isn't watching this, we should be good to go with Sam stabbing himself in the hand with a blade. And you know, it really is. I mean, it's all your senses kind of coming together on this. We were joking about it the other day when Sam mentioned, you know, you could like thump it like a cantaloupe and see if it's ripe. I mean, it's not quite to that level, but I mean, it is. It's you're looking at it, you're catching the aroma. Whether you're sticking it or not. Certainly, if you stick a ham and you got a bad one, you're going to know real darn quick if you got a bad ham. That's one of the challenges we face when you're curing a ham. You really don't know what you're going to get until you get into the ham, and that's why it's so important to do the. I think we call it the stick and sniff process, because there's no real name for it other than stick and sniff, because that's what you do. You stick it with an ice pick and give it a whiff, and you can kind of get an idea of where you're at. And it's throughout the entire process. I mean, the hams are monitored, looked at every single day from start to finish throughout, so we can kind of get an idea of where we're at. We're looking at base age. We know where the ham should be at particular points in the aging process from the aroma, but you need to go in and do that stick and sniff to make sure it's there. It's also actually pretty cool when you get into the longer age hams, and this is something that we definitely look for on the Suriano. When you do slice into it, you're going to see these small white flecks, and Sam actually calls them age flecks. A lot of people will think, oh, that's salt. And Sam, I'll kick it back to you as far as that reaction going in, whether it's the amino acids or the muscle tissue. But when you get to those longer age hams, you get into those age flecks. We did a pairing actually with a friend of ours over at Ironclad Distillery. And we had actually given them a wigwam with 11 months age. They hung it in their aging room for an extra 9 months. And that was one of the first wigwams we have carved back without cooking in a long time. And that wigwam had picked up those age flecks as well. That was an amazing ham. That was very tasty to do, no question. But yeah, it's sight, it's smell, it's sound when you're coming from the outside of the ham. And then definitely when you're cutting into it, so there's some things that you can look for. So Sam, I'll kick it back to you to talk about those age flecks a little bit.
Yeah, so when a ham ages, that's what happens is the enzyme breakdown in that meat. That's what develops naturally, and that's a way to tell that the ham has got a really long age on it. But just to clarify on the sticking of the hams, so once we get to the age profile, length of time, and dryness of the ham, going by time and temperature, I'll go in with a pick and I'll randomly check a lot. And a lot may consist of 200 to 2,000 pieces. And I'll randomly go through there and pick, I don't know, maybe 2, 3, 4 pieces. And if that lot is there, then I'll say, okay, that lot's released. And the guys will go in and they'll stick each ham just to make sure that they're all right. And we have 1 or 2 guys that's what they do. They know what the hams are supposed to be. Now, most anybody, if you hit a bad ham, you will know. It's no question about it. It's not a borderline thing. And occasionally you'll have a ham that either has a bruise in it, or occasionally a bone will get broken in the slaughter process or in the handling of it, and that'll cause a bad ham. Or occasionally you just don't salt it correctly and it'll cause a bad ham. But that's the whole point of the sticking. But anyway, that's pretty much the process of determining if we cured it correctly and determining if it's ready to go.
Got a cured meat question? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.